Brief Poetic DS Krypton S of the 38 Remedies. Agrimony. I hide my feelings behind a facade of cheerfulness. I dislike arguments and often give in to avoid conflict. I turn to food, work, alcohol, drugs, etc. Wind down. Aspen. I feel anxious without knowing why. I have a secret fear that something bad will happen. I wake up feeling anxious. Beach. I get annoyed by the habits of others. I focus on others' mistakes. I am critical and intolerant. Centauri. I often neglect my own needs to please. I find it difficult to say no. I tend to be easily influenced. Serrato. I constantly second guess myself. I seek advice. Mistrusting my own intuition, I often change my mind out of confusion. Cherry plum. I'm afraid I might lose control of myself. I have sudden fits of rage. I feel like I'm going crazy. Chestnut, but I make the same mistakes over and over. I don't learn from my experience. I keep repeating the same patterns. Chicory. I need to be needed and want my loved ones close. I feel unloved and unappreciated by my family. I easily feel slighted and hurt. Clematis. I often feel spacey and absent-minded. I find myself unable to concentrate for long. I get drowsy and sleep more than necessary. Crabapple. I am overly concerned with cleanliness. I feel unclean or physically unattractive. I tend to obsess over little things. Elm. I feel overwhelmed by my responsibilities. I don't cope well under pressure. I have temporarily lost my self-confidence. Gentian. I become discouraged with small setbacks. I am easily disheartened when faced with difficulties. I am often skeptical and pessimistic. Horse. I feel hopeless and can't see a way out. I lack faith that things could get better in my life. I feel sullen and depressed. Heather. I am obsessed with my own troubles. I dislike being alone and I like to talk. I usually bring conversations back to myself. Holly. I am suspicious of others. I feel discontented and unhappy. I am full of jealousy, mistrust, or hate. Honeysuckle. I'm often homesick for the way it was. I think more about the past than the present. I often think about what might have been. Hornbeam. I often feel too tired to face the day ahead. I feel mentally exhausted. I tend to put things off. Impatience. I find it hard to wait for things. I am impatient and irritable. I prefer to work alone. Larch. I lack self-confidence. I feel inferior and often become discouraged. I never expect anything but failure. Mimulus. I am afraid of things such as spiders, illness, etc. I am shy, overly sensitive, and modest. I get nervous and embarrassed. Mustard. I get depressed without any reason. I feel my mood swinging back and forth. I get gloomy feelings that come and go. Oak. I tend to overwork and keep on in spite of exhaustion. I have a strong sense of duty and never give up. I neglect my own needs in order to complete a task. Olive. I feel completely exhausted. Physically and or mentally, I am totally drained of all energy with no reserves left. I have just been through a long period of illness or stress. Pine. I feel unworthy and inferior. I often feel guilty. I blame myself for everything that goes wrong. Red Chestnut. I am overly concerned and worried about my loved ones. I am distressed and disturbed by other people's problems. I worry that harm may come to those I love. Rock Rose. I sometimes feel terror and panic. I become helpless and frozen when afraid. I suffer from nightmares. Rock Water. I set high standards for myself. I am strict with my health, work, and or spiritual discipline. I am very self-disciplined, always striving for perfection. Scleranthus. I find it difficult to make decisions. I often change my opinions. I have intense mood swings. Star of Bethlehem. I feel devastated due to recent shock. I am withdrawn due to traumatic events in my life. I have never recovered from loss or fright. Sweet Chestnut. I feel extreme mental or emotional heartache. I have reached the limits of my endurance. I am in complete despair, all hope gone. Vervain. I get high-strung and very intense. I try to convince others of my way of thinking. I am sensitive to injustice, almost fanatical. Vine. I tend to take charge of projects, situations, etc. I consider myself a natural leader. I am strong-willed, ambitious, and often bossy.